Ready to revamp your race team's look? Look no further than Epic Racewear. They're not just any ordinary merchandise supplier. They're the pit crew you need to take your team to the next level. Hats, pit shirts, tents, race suits, flags, gloves, marketing materials, bags, you name it, they have it. Dan Bailey and his talented crew at Epic Racewear will work tirelessly to provide you with an eye-catching design that will make your team stand out from the competition. Let's not forget about their unmatched creativity when it comes to making you look fresh and cool while promoting your partners. Epic Racewear is the real deal. Don't wait a second longer. Head over to epicracewear.ca today and start turning heads with your new and improved look. Trust us, you won't regret it. Imagewraps.ca is an exceptional design company that specializes in providing top-notch race car design services. From eye-catching race car numbers and striking schemes to captivating logos, Imagewraps.ca can bring your vision to life. With their unparalleled expertise and creativity, they have been responsible for crafting some of the most memorable and awe-inspiring rides in the industry. Led by the talented duo of Craig and Doug Camrath, the team at Imagewraps.ca is dedicated to delivering designs that not only make your partner stand out on the track, but also leave a lasting impression off of it. Trust in their professional touch to take your race car design to the next level and make a powerful statement.
What's going on, everybody? It's Graydon alongside Cam K as always. We're heading back to the beach this week. The season is over and gone at Sauble Speedway, but we're bringing the inaugural Epic Racewear Bone Stock Division champion and multi-time track champion, Pat Farrow's with us. Welcome in, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, this is kind of cool. I'm excited to have you on here and chat about the season. And as we said, you're a multi-time track champion. So, what are the titles that you own there, bud? You got quite a backdrop behind you too, by the way.
Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate the last few years at Sauble there, picking up the championship last year for the combined fours,
Hmm.
and then something I really never expected was picking up the Bone Stock Championship this year. But it is pretty cool to say I'm a multi-time champion. It's something I've really tried so hard to pull off these last few years.
And it's back to back, which is kind of for you. The situation is very unique because you're going from the combined fours to the class racing of the Epic Racewear Bone Stock. So, kind of talk about the transition of what the combined fours were at Sauble to what we are running now as the Epic Racewear Bone Stock division.
Yeah, so we had a breakout time. It was 17.5. You could run a mini stock or a bone stock. And as long as you didn't break out of that time, everything was good. There was no tech, there was nothing. You could do whatever you needed to do. I mean, my whole strategy was I dialed the car in to run up top in the marbles where nobody wanted to go because, well, if you run the long way around, you don't break out. Eventually, guys started picking up on that,
Yeah.
but it worked well for me then. But then we did this transition to the bone stocks, and originally I wasn't even going to run the '08, but spring came around, and I'm like, well, my quickest thing is I got to make this thing legal for a bone stock. I'm
Mhm.
glad that Sauble was nice enough to grandfather the car in, but of
Mhm.
course I had to change absolutely everything, back to stock. I had to, chop the body back down to a stock body as best I could, doing the rain and the snow because I don't have a shop. But, back to the stock suspension, stock engine, stock ECU to meet all the rules. And to be honest, the last thing I expected was to pick up the championship. I was just going to be happy if I could be competitive.
Oh, you definitely were for sure, man.
Yeah.
How long has it been that you've been racing out at the beach, Pat?
I've been at Sauble for about 6 years now. I originally started there back in, I think it's 2018 or 2019, back when they ran the bone stocks before.
Oh, okay.
That was when I honestly I picked up my first heat win ever. Was back then, back in 2019, and we had car count issues, so that was when they went to the combined four.
Mhm.
So then I built a brand new car for the combined fours, and Well, that turned out pretty good.
So in the time that you've been there, so six years obviously, a lot can happen. 6 years would take us past before COVID. Um, and we know one of the things that Graydon and I quite routinely talk about, and one of the things that we know Brad and the team there have a very difficult battle that they have to wage every year is to get people to come out to the racetrack, and not just the fans, but as we've talked about, competitors. So, in the time that you've been there, how have you felt the landscape change at the beach? Because, um, by all accounts, the racing there is phenomenal. The track's phenomenal. What is um, the real hard, I guess, what is the reason that we can't get people there on a regular? Is it the location?
I feel like that's what it is. Like
Yeah.
we're pretty rural around here, you know, like a lot of places like Sunset Flamborough, like you're down near the city, you have population, you have a lot of people. So there's more people there. We're up here, like, you know, there's not a whole lot of population here. I feel like that plays into it.
Yeah.
And you know, like we struggled a lot. I think that the step from combined force helped a lot. Like we finally did get some car count. Like when we were bone stock before, I think we were pulling 5, 6 cars a night. Like that's not, you can't work with that. So then they went to the combined four and we started getting, you know, 10, 12, upwards of 15 cars a night, which again wasn't bad, but I really
Hmm.
feel like at least coming back to bone stock, we're into affordability now.
Hmm.
Like it's not hard to put a bone stock together. And, you know, judging from fan appreciation and people coming into the pits after and talking, the interest is there now. Like I've definitely had quite a few people ask, hey, like what do I have to do to get in? And I tell them, like, you know, this is what you got to do, and you don't got to get crazy with it. And then you can come out, you can have fun, and we can get cars out because really that's what we need.
Hmm. And that's something that you're touching on now, and that's something that I feel like being the small part that I was involved with racing there this year that we're really trying to build, because that, as Cam said, like the racing there is great, and it's a really really great culture. It's just you got to really lure the car counts in, and even to an extent the repeat customers. I mean, the track has kind of an uphill battle in that regard, where you do have probably a percentage of locals that do come and support the track week in and week out during the season, but there's a lot of turnover there with tourism being a big part of the industry in Sauble Beach. So it's a big, it's a very unique area in terms of a racing environment compared to the counterparts in Ontario, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's tricky that way because of course most of like anything up here it's really on tourism.
Hmm.
Like, you know, so it's how they get the people there during, you know, tourist season. That's a tricky thing.
Yeah,
You know, I'm glad I'm not the guy that's got to try and figure it out.
that's
But
right.
I feel like they're doing pretty good. Like this was a rebuild year,
Hmm.
but you know, from the start of the year to the end of the year, things are really looking up, in my opinion. Like Brad and everybody there really have made a lot of good changes. And you know, we did have some few nights that you know, get out there and you're like, oh, you know, it's a pretty good crowd and it's good to see, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it is. It's a building year, but like it was a great feeling that the culture is being built, though, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, and you know the best thing is it's between the drivers and everybody. It's a very friendly and just we're all there to help each other. And
Hmm.
you know, so if you're a new driver coming in, and this is what I say to people that ask about it, like just come in, ask questions, don't be afraid. Like we just want, as a whole, we want this thing to succeed. And you know, there's everybody's going to help you. Like that's the best part of running
Yeah.
there that I love is everybody's got each other's back. So, you know what? If you're a new driver coming in, then you got people that are going to help you get there.
Yeah. Watch out for the dummy that hits third gear on the front row.
Yeah. We don't need to talk much more about that, do we, Graydon? Um,
I threw myself under the bus there.
yeah, you did. You beat us to the punch, man.
Yeah, I had to
If
do
you
it.
didn't, we would have. But
Yeah, 3 speed.
yeah, 3 speed. But speaking, actually, we're going to we'll step back from 3 speed and go to 2 speed. 2 speed nationals were there. Master the segue right here. 2 speed nationals, you guys voted. It went to Sauble. So there must be, like we said, there was a big crowd. You got the big event with the big Legend Car Show this year. You have routinely put APC shows on there on the map. You guys have been a part of those broadcasts. It's definitely going that way, and you've got some key visitors that have come around. We're gonna bring some of those names up: Brady Cox and old Alex Stewart. Man, Alex done a lot of traveling. Phil Givens come up there a little bit this year to play around. But what's the selling point for people that haven't gone out there, Pat? Try and sell other racers on Sauble Speedway.
Well, you know what? Again, kind of like I briefed on before, like it's just a good environment, and we're all there to help each other. Like, bringing up Brady and Alex, one of the best things to see this year is fellow driver Savannah had an incident in practice, just a racing deal. Her car was pretty heavily damaged, and she seemed a bit discouraged and said, "Oh, Brady and Alex and probably everybody in the bone stock field was right there to help. And, they put in the work and she made the night and she got out there and, finished the feature, but all because the fellow competitors all stepped in to make sure you make the show. And there's nothing better than that, like if we all got each other's backs, we can go out there, we can have fun, and we can put on a good show for the fans, which again, that comes full circle that if they got a good show, maybe next week they'll say, hey, you know what, let's go watch that again because that was a pretty good show, right? Like nothing beats that.
And you did your part by bringing not just one car, but bringing the 80 car as well to the track at times too, man. So fielding one car, as you said, I mean, you're doing this in your driveway, not in a shop, and you're not sometimes just bringing your own car, but you're bringing two cars. So talk about doing that. Like you're not just like padding the car count, but you're kind of building your own program as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I saw our car counts were a bit low and it's tough. Like being just one guy out in your driveway, like if it's raining, well, guess what? I'm out there in the rain. If it's, it was snowing, I'm out there working in the snow.
Yeah.
And just to bring another car, get another car out there. But yeah, it goes better because it helps me because of course I get another car out there. It's funny how you can have two neons, both of them handled completely differently, they drive differently, and it's the weirdest thing. But it was good to get my buddy Mike out there. He's one of the few guys that really do give me a hand when I need it,
Mhm.
and I can relay his info because, of course, last year, he ran his car, and I helped him, and I could just when he was relaying what the car's doing, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I know what I got to change, and then that car's not where it needs to be yet, but we're working on it and we got a lot of speed out of it. And I know going into next year, hey, here's what I got to do. And then hopefully we get two cars that are front runners.
Mhm. Yeah, it was cool. Like for me being showing up at various points of the season, it was cool to actually like I could see the gains that the 80 car was making as I would show up through the season. Like, holy God, like it's gaining. So it was cool to see that. And that's a challenge in itself, as you say, like you're fielding your primary car essentially, and then also making the sacrifice and putting the effort in to bring in a whole other car to the track. So I mean, I would appreciate that being the people at the speedway, and so I'm just saying thanks, man, because that's a big undertaking for sure.
Yeah, it really has. But again, I love that speedway. I love everybody there that races and just yeah, I want to see it succeed. So hey, if that's what I got to do my little part, then that works for me.
So
Nice.
one of the things that I want to do here, Pat, because one of the things that's we can't really do this with a lot of tracks is because they do have a lot of cars in their divisions. But you guys have a steady few, and actually you've had the most out of the entire division for points this year. You guys had 9 drivers that were listed here on the point standings, more than any other division. But I want to know kind of a little bit about the drivers from Pat Farrow's point of view. So this might be dangerous, but I want to know some of the competitors that are out there. So we'll start at the bottom of the point standings because I love this guy because he's great on the mic and is also racing. But Dave Middleton, how's it
Yeah.
like? How is it having him out there?
He's good. He comes in with the right attitude. He's out there to have fun. He doesn't want to get too crazy. But, seeing his car from the start of the year to the end of the year, he made some big gains. Like there was a noticeable difference in speed. I did lap him quite a few times, but it got harder through the year. And I'm like, that's what I like to say. Like he's picking it up, and I'm gonna bet next year he'll be up in that top five with that car.
So you got a couple others. Now I don't know how often they were out there, but Nathan Ecker and Glenn Schmidt. So we don't know anything about those two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know Nate too much. Again, I saw him picking up speed. Unfortunately, he got in that wreck, and I believe it was practice or something. Rode that car off, but I'll tell you, before that happened, he was putting down some lap times. Like there was a noticeable difference every week that he came back. That you know what, like they're trying, they're doing something.
Yeah.
And Glenn, well, Glenn's a good guy. I love racing with him. He shows up every week. He comes out and has fun. And I always laugh because he's the last guy there. I'm surprised when he makes it there for last practice, but you know what? He goes out there, he does his thing, and again, that car is it's getting quicker. Like a lot of the field, they've really stepped it up, and by the end of the year, that field's really tightening up.
That's true.
Savannah Finley made her debut this year in the bone stock division. A fellow SNS racer. What do you have to say about Savannah?
She did great. You know what? Like honestly, for a first year driver to come out, and I know she won a heat race on her first night, like that, even though it's a heat, that's a big accomplishment. Like that's awesome. That's a great
Mhm.
way to start. Like to get that in your first year is a really good start. And you know what? Again, she picked up a ton over the year because it's a lot to just come into this and then just start racing. So
Yeah.
like the amount that she learned and the car control that she had was really well because like last
Hmm.
couple weeks she was up there starting on pole and I had to get around her, and you know what, it wasn't just oh I'm going around her. Like no, I had to work. I had to 3 4 5 laps to get around her, and I'm like, this is awesome. Like you got the speed. You're put in the position that you start pole, and you're holding everybody off. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And
Well,
congratulations to her, obviously, on getting Rookie of the Year too. That's pretty cool.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Kyle Newmeister.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Him and we had some good battles. Like there is the one feature I only got him by a nose.
Mhm.
And you know what? Like it was a last turn Hail Mary move that I made. But you know what? He didn't door me. He didn't do me dirty. He raced me clean every time. Like we had some really fun battles, and I had a lot of fun racing with him. I don't know what's in store for him next
Hmm.
year, but you know what? If he comes back, hopefully we can have some more good battles.
One of my favorite cars in the field, the number one, John Van Dyke. Second in the championship for you. Uh, I don't know anything about him, but all I know is that car, I've seen it for years. And you go back to all these classic videos of racing on pedal power, and that car is in the field somehow. So
Yeah.
let's hear about John.
John is a good guy. I'll tell you, I swear every single night I was dueling it out with him. Like
No
it's our
doubt.
cars had a magnet to us, I swear, because we just end up door to door, and there'd be a little bit of bumping and banging, but it was just good hard racing. There was never anything malicious about any of it. We duked it out, and he got a lot of. I was really happy to see him get his feature win that he got later in the season, because as much as I was lucky that I got 5 feature wins, that guy was second every time. Like he got
Yeah.
so many second place finishes. Like he really deserved that win. And he's good to race with, but he is a
Hmm.
tough guy to beat. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah, it was
There's
08 and 1 all season, man.
there's one more collective unit that we know I was gonna leave to last because they're above they're above everybody else in our hearts because man they're just a bucket of fun. That's CGC Racing
My
collective
boys
unit. Pops
and
Campbell,
Kathy,
Steve Decline, Matt Campbell. Let's see who else we have. Graydon Bunn was a part of that team this year as one of the racers.
John
Brandon
Custance,
John Custance, Brandon
Kathy
Feeney,
Forsyth.
Kathy Forsyth, Alex Stewart, I think, ran for them. Brady
Yep.
Cox ran for them. Am I missing anybody, Graydon? I think I
Uh,
got everybody.
I think we got the whole roster there. We had, yeah, Brady ended up the 81 with the engine issues. It was the Brady and Grady show a couple of times there,
There
and
you go.
but it ended up being a great year for us, and we were following Pat around
I
the
want to
whole
hear
time.
what Pat says because Pat has to be there every week with these guys.
Yeah.
You know what? They're the best. Like they bring the right attitude to the track, and like I really appreciate, like, they helped me quite a few times, especially Steve. There was a couple of situations this year that I needed parts from home, and he had that truck fired up and said, "Let's go." There was even a time we brought my backup car just
Mhm.
during the monster truck event or whatever, because they had issues with the one car, and he was just I'm like, you know what? Let's get my car. He had that truck fired up, and we headed to Shallow Lake, and we brought it just to make sure we had a couple cars for that event. But you know what? For them to do, him and Steve in particular, just to go out of his way like that, it's so appreciated. You know what I mean? And it sucks to see they had the engine issues with the 81, but I'll tell you, with that 82, they started getting that thing dialed in. Like, they're the last race of the year. I believe Matt was in it.
Mhm.
I had a tough time getting around him. I was surprised. I'm like, you know what? Like, they got some speed in this car. They're only a few tenths off of being like top three material. And to see them pick up that third place in the points was awesome because they really deserve it. Like, honestly.
I have to be a little bit prejudiced here and say that I want to know about what it was like to race Graydon Bunn on the racetrack.
I already threw myself
What a
Well,
under the
complete
bus,
you're
bud.
schlub,
you're in
right?
second gear,
Yeah,
man.
that
You're
wasn't my
good.
finest performance.
No, again, you're great to race with. Like, I can appreciate that somebody, like, you gave me the room, but I could tell you weren't just giving it to me. I'm like, yeah, he's running that car. So it's not like you're just hopping in there for a little Sunday drive. Like, no, he's sending that car and giving it all it's got. So it was a lot of fun racing with you this year.
Oh, back at you, man. And as I said, like all these situations that I've been put in, it makes me a better driver, and it just makes me want to come back and do it some more there next year, and try and dig a little harder and get some more of those surfboards that are all in your background there.
You can get them, but you're gonna have to go through the yellow to get it.
Yeah, that's no doubt. That's what I always say to everybody is this guy can make a neon look like rear wheel drive, and it's all up in the marbles where nobody can go. But then also we want to touch on this, of course, too, because when I was driving that 82, I had a pretty good a fan base there, but I had a pretty super little fan, and she's a big fan of yours too. So talk about the family involvement here, bud.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm super lucky that I have my little girl since she turned 7 there last week. Hi, Addison. I love you. I want to
Yeah,
get
happy
that in
birthday
because
to
I can't.
Addison.
She's gonna love watching this. But yeah, you know what? She just loves coming to the track with me, and she's so supportive.
Hmm.
But you know what? As much as she's there cheering her daddy on, she cheers every single car on.
Yeah.
She's got that good attitude. She just wants everybody to have fun and do good. And I'll be honest, like, the most incredible feeling in the world is I hop out of that car and I'm lucky enough to get a win. But that little girl comes running up to me like, "Daddy, you won, you won, you won." Like, it brought a tear to my eye in victory lane one day this year because it was just how it doesn't get any better than that. That's a memory that is always she's always going to remember that. And you know what? She's going to have the little board to look at.
Yeah.
And luckily, like, a lot of those events have been taped by Pedal Power and such. And like, she just says, "Daddy, can we watch one of your races?" I'm like, "Absolutely, girl. Let's put it on."
Legit super fan. That's
I'm
awesome.
Yeah,
telling you, I don't know, Graydon. What I see coming is a yellow '08 junior late model.
she's
Putting words
on
in
me
his
about it.
mouth.
I'll
She's
tell
on you
you.
about it. All
She
right.
is, yeah. So in
Uh,
a few years, there might be a new addition to Farrow Racing.
There we go.
and some
What?
gray hairs, maybe
That's a
too.
great house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be a whole other thing watching her out there. I know what
Yeah.
I can do, but man, watching my
Yeah.
little girl out there, I don't know how that'll
Yeah,
go.
that's a different animal, I'm sure.
What do you want to say to the new GM this year? Because one of
Uh,
those things that we talked with Brad about
That Holmes guy, yeah.
that Holmes guy, he was new and he was an unknown. He was a racer that's coming in and really getting a shot that really people are going to go like, who is this guy, right? Sadly, we did the same thing. Who the heck is Brad Holmes? How did he do this year?
he did awesome. Honestly, like I know it was his first year as a GM, but he handled it really well. But what I really respect is that he took the voice of the drivers. It wasn't just like some guys coming in and he's, "Hey, I'm doing it my way. If you don't like it, leave." It was like he listened to the drivers. And he really wanted the place to succeed, and he handled it all really well, I think. Like, I really hope he comes back again, and I can't wait to see what the track can become with his kind of management that he was doing because it was top notch, I thought.
Yeah, I would agree. And we just sat like just reiterating that Brad also kind of dealt with a very unprecedented turn of events with the passing of Jeff
Yeah.
Cassidy kind of deep in the season there, which really kind of um it didn't spoil the atmosphere. I think it made everybody dig a little harder to put on a good show and finish the year strong on in Jeff's memory. But talk about an event like that, I mean, where that's not something that the GM really typically has to face in his first year either. So I mean, definitely kudos to him for rolling with that too.
Yeah, that's tough. I feel they handled it well.
Hmm.
I mean, you can't prepare for something like that. So like for it to just get thrown on them like that and they focused on the track and just doing things the way it should be. And I'm sure how he wanted to see it.
Hmm.
And I think he handled it really well.
Yeah, and Tina showing up smiling all the time still, and strong lady too.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Pat, are you going to make any appearances at a track other than Sauble in 2025?
Sauble's going to be my main concern. Of course, like the '08, she'll be back and stronger than ever. I'm hoping to possibly have two full-time next year, two part-time for sure. But I really do want to try to dip my toes in some other stuff. Like I haven't run Varney in quite a few years, so that's one place that I do want to go and try and run some laps at, and maybe even do the tour down to Flamborough or Peterborough. It's really tricky from where I am because
Yeah.
it's a long haul and it turns into a very expensive run. But I definitely want to try some other stuff out eventually. And that's kind of part of getting this 80 car, my backup car dialed in, is that once it's dialed in and I'm like, okay, we got some speed in this thing, then I can take it elsewhere and see how I stack up against the other, big bone stock drivers in Ontario.
Yeah, we definitely
That'd
saw.
be fun to see.
I believe we saw a video of what looked to be a former Pat Farrow car running out at Laird,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
uh, I believe it was another neon, if I'm not mistaken. So you've kind of got pieces all over the place already. So might as well let's try to see where you can run out down here as well, because I think it would be really cool to see you running one of those tracks. But biggest attraction for Sunset Sauble Speedway in 2025. Epic Racewear Bone Stocks. What do you want to say to Dan and Epic Racewear who got behind your guys' program? Really an unknown program in 2024.
yeah, definitely appreciate his support. Um, like it is a gamble, a new class, all that, but I'm really glad that we had a good title sponsor. Like I know the first year we ever ran combined fours, we didn't even have a class sponsor. You know what I mean? So for him to come on board like that is it's very appreciated amongst all the drivers because that's what we need. And I hope that I, you know, represented it well for him. Like I don't know what else to say other than that, but hopefully, next year he comes on board again and we can do it all again for him.
Love
And
that.
then, Pat, also you have a group of people and partners that make this happen for you. So just keep right on shouting them out too while you're at it, man.
Yeah, so I got to thank Polaris Spray Foam and Insulation. If you're up here in the Owen Sound Grey Bruce area, give Devin a call if you need insulation, spray foam, anything like that. They do a great job. He does incredible work. You can follow his Facebook page and see those boys. They do top-notch stuff. I got to thank OK Tire. Dave's my boss. He's been a huge supporter, even back when I was the slowest car on the track at lap. He had his name on my car, and he helped a lot with tires this year.
Probably used less tires back then, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was certainly didn't have the speed I do now. But yeah, Dave's been a very good supporter. There was a couple, just getting close to the season. He kind of bailed me out and let me use the shop to finish that car to make it out there, and even just make the first race. I also got to thank my dad. He's been a huge supporter again, helping with my daughter on nights I have my daughter at the track and just helping me out anytime I need it because it's a tough thing to make happen, this racing thing.
Yep.
And I also got to send a shout out to, of course, Tom Eckensweiler because I blew up the motor opening night, and that guy had my back, and we had that car in his shop, and we changed the motor in one night
Nice.
and we grinded that out, and I owe him for that. Like I appreciate his help. And then of course Mike Brown, he helped me when he could. He's a busy man with having a newborn, so I understand he couldn't help me a lot. And then Don Worthington, he was my pit guy every night. I'm glad I didn't have to put him to work, but he was there ready to throw down if we needed the tire changed.
Nice.
I
That's
love it.
awesome.
I love the all yellow. I love one of my favorite logos out there is the OK Tire logo. So love seeing that on the race car, and we want to thank you, obviously, Pat, for carrying us along the entire season for your championship season at Sauble Speedway, and we hope to hear more great stories of you bumping fenders with Graydon Bunn next year. Hopefully not too much bumping, but we obviously are extremely appreciative, and we're very proud to have been on the car this year. One of the things that we love to do on this show is get to have racers like yourself interviewed. But one thing I also want to know is we know we've got a great program with Imagewraps.ca where we're looking at Stars of Tomorrow. You've
Mhm.
had the opportunity to work at and be at the track at Sauble, and they've got a great junior late model program there. Um, who's a kid that you see there that is somebody that we're gonna have to watch out for in the future?
Well, of course, Camrath.
Yeah.
He dominated. He did really well, and it was it was pretty wild to see that I believe it's Josh Davenport there all of a
Mhm.
sudden started picking up wins, and I think that's somebody you're going to have to keep an eye on as well. Like he Camrath was a tough kid to beat, and I was pretty surprised to see somebody step up and really battle it out. And they had some really good battles and put on a great show.
I think it
Absolutely.
was the closest junior late model finish I think they've ever had at Sauble, if I'm not mistaken, this year was between those two. So
Mhm.
it's remarkable and it's great. Lots of great stuff happening at the beach. How can people follow along with you or get involved in your racing program, Pat?
On Instagram, I have a page called Farrow_racing. You can add me up there, and then on Facebook, just Patrick Farrow. That's my page that I keep everybody up to date on this crazy racing habit that I have.
Man, this has been super fun, and glad we got to talk about the beach and talk about your ever-growing collection of hardware and the program you're building to do it. So we appreciate the time. And again, hi to Addison, and thanks a lot for the time, Pat. We appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and of course, thanks for having me as part of the Stickers and Scuff family this year. I loved having that on there, and I appreciate what you guys do for racing in Ontario. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks,
Well,
bud.
thank you very much, Pat. We love doing it. We love having you here on the show, Stickers and Scuffs with Pat Farrow. Thank you very much, bud.
Thanks.